everyone. This is the Spartan Update Podcast. It is March 4th, 2022, and it is a bright and lovely 21 degrees out. I'm Danny. I'm accompanied by Ryan and the wonderful Mr. DeMuro. Mr. DeMuro, how are you today?
I'm good. How are
good.
you?
I'm pretty good.
I was excited to be here, actually.
Yeah, it was nice.
I feel like we've scheduled this a couple of times.
We wanted you on here for a while.
High demand.
Have you ever been on here before?
I have not. No.
Wow.
This is actually my first podcast in life.
That's
as well.
surprising.
Yeah, you feel like the podcast type.
Well, I do meditations, so it's more of like a by myself podcast, I guess, right?
Right, but like I feel like you would do like
Oh,
meditation and like
absolutely.
yoga with like other people like around.
Yes, I'm definitely open to this. I feel like I've done more like Zoom or, Skype-y type of interviews.
Yeah.
So this is exciting to feel
Yeah.
like connected in the same room.
Yeah, it's better than the Zoom type interviews. Those kind of
Yeah. I mean, I'm still
don't feel the same.
the only Zoom that I still have, like I have a math tutor,
Mhm.
so like I'm still on Zoom with that. But like that's whatever.
Right. I'm excited for in-person connection again. I think
Yeah.
that's vital to
Yeah.
life, right?
It's nice to finally be back in person, right?
It is. It's
And
nice.
maskless.
Yeah.
And maskless.
And as of Monday, totally.
Yes. And
Complete.
throughout school. Are you looking forward to that?
Oh yeah.
I've been looking forward to that for a while.
For a while.
As soon as that announcement came out, I was ecstatic.
Me too. I think I did a little heel kick.
The little happy dance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, because I miss my kids' smiles, right? I've had to. And now you guys got earbuds, so now you have this, you have this.
I'm gonna have the earbuds back now. That was a
Wow.
big of a problem last year. Remember?
Yeah.
Because you really couldn't. It was just the faces, but like now everyone's gonna
now
go
I'm
back.
going to see smiles and laughter at my jokes
Do people wear earbuds in your class?
until I ask them to take them out, I think.
What?
I know. Well, because I think it becomes part of the routine, right? Because
I
when
only wear them
we're-
in classes that I don't like.
Oh, see, it's because I have Ryan
See
as a
that?
student. That was a point.
Yeah.
Extra credit, I think. Right?
Yeah, it was good.
No, but I wear them in English because I don't like.
And what do you
English.
listen to when you have them in?
Oh,
Curious.
a ton. I mean, I listen to a lot of different kinds of music.
Okay, music.
When I was really young, I listened to exclusively heavy metal, like
Oh.
Van Halen, AC/DC, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And then as I got in like 7th grade, I started getting into rap music, and then I got
Okay.
really into that.
Mm.
And now I just kind of listen to I listen to anything and everything if it sounds good.
Do you pay attention to the lyrics?
Depends on what I'm listening to.
Mm.
Rap music is more for like just the vibe of it, because there's not really any substance there.
The beat, you mean? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like the
Yeah.
beat of it?
Just how it makes you feel, like the sound
Like
of
hype
the music.
ya up.
Yeah, yeah.
Get in the
But I
mood.
kinda the
Other
same.
music, that's like has more meaning behind the lyrics is
Mm.
definitely you listen to that more.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way.
Same way?
I've listened to just about everything that's not country.
Mm.
Um,
Not country.
I hate
Not
country.
country.
I hate
There's no country songs you like?
there's no country songs
Oh,
in my
man.
playlist.
Even like the
You can go through
Charlie
my-
Daniels band.
You can go through my entire Spotify liked songs.
There's not a single country
I'm
song.
gonna have to find one. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan.
There
of
might
country,
be a little Taylor Swift,
but- Okay.
if that
There's
counts.
the truth. That's what we're
like
looking
old,
for.
like
It's
old
like
Taylor
pop
You
Swift.
guys heard it
country.
here.
That counts. That counts.
Yeah, there's eclectic. There's like some good stuff. How about bluegrass? Like I like Trevor Hall. You guys all know this. And I feel like he plays with
Yeah.
a band called like Dirt Wire, and they make their instruments out of like their own stuff. So it has like a kind of like a twang to it. And I wouldn't.
That's cool.
normally-
That's just
yeah.
not my kind of music.
Yeah, listen, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
I went kind of the same route as Ryan. I went heavy metal. Well, kind of rock to heavy metal.
I'm going back to heavy metal now too, kind of like a little bit.
I
Yeah.
tried. I didn't like it. It just kind of wasn't like my taste in music now. Because my taste in music now is like Rex Orange County. Like, I'm going to a Tyler the Creator concert over the weekend.
What is this concert?
Tyler the Creator.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know who that is.
Okay, I thought so.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm
I'm
going to a
kinda with
concert of
it.
his over the weekend. And it's kind of just like, I wouldn't say like mellow rap, but like
Right.
it's definitely like more of a storytelling kind
Yeah.
of vibe.
And storytelling is important, right? So that's even what is the basis of our class or
Yeah.
life, right? You being here.
Yeah.
Are we doing another lecture today?
Today we are, well, we're capping up love. I think I was going to teach you about your love language
Oh yeah.
a little bit, but I might hold off till Tuesday for
Why?
that because I feel like a few people are absent and I feel like it's an
I
important
feel like
thing.
a
It's
lot
like,
of people are absent.
It's like the closure. Well, it's Friday, right? So people
Yeah.
are like,
Friday,
3-day
fun day.
weekend.
Yeah.
And then we have a guest speaker Monday, so I think I'm going to maybe
Oh
hold
yeah, I
off.
forgot we got Mentor Monday again.
I have Miss Garrity coming in Monday.
Really?
Yeah.
She's my English teacher.
There you go. You're going to learn something
Maybe you
new.
should have
And
said
maybe
that
you'll
part
stop
about-
wearing
Yeah, maybe
your-
I shouldn't have just said how I wear earbuds in
I was going
English
to say, maybe
class.
you'll stop wearing earbuds now.
Yeah. I don't
Once you
know.
understand.
Yeah, I bet you feel
I
bad
know.
now, don't you?
Nah.
I hope she sees this.
Maybe after Monday I'll feel bad.
Yeah.
Miss Garrett, I
Tuesday.
promise you I am always paying attention in your class if you're watching this.
Oh.
I don't.
Always.
Uh-oh. Don't give me a bad rap. I think we should.
I have an A in English. It's fine. I don't.
Yeah.
I can say that.
She'll change that.
Yeah, she will.
She'll
change
see
that.
this and be like, oh, no.
I won't tell her Monday. I promise.
I should have an A in every class. To be fair, it is senior year.
Yeah.
Unless you're taking APs, it shouldn't be that hard. You know. I mean,
I could not imagine taking an AP senior year.
No,
like in this. I don't know.
I decided.
Like,
I didn't wanna
I'm
do
not gonna
that.
say like what people think are like the easy AP classes, but like obviously there are a lot of people who are taking an AP just for like either like a GPA boost or like they think it's interesting, which is I think the real reason you should be taking
Well, I mean,
APs.
I've had APs that I thought I took because people said they were easy, and then they were not.
Well, what does easy mean? Right?
Like
So-
easier in comparison to the other AP classes.
Like anything that's going to be a GPA boost.
Hmm.
Because there's a couple of classes for the APs that people are just like, oh yeah, this is like super easy. Like take this class if you want to get like a 90 or above to get that GPA boost.
I feel like people have said my class is easy, but it's not easy. I feel like
mean,
it takes work. But
It's
you have
easy
be
to get a
willing
100
do
in your
it.
class.
If you
That's what
do
people
it.
say.
If you
yeah,
do the
if
Pay
you do.
attention.
Yeah.
Do you have people that fail your class?
Of course I do.
How do you fail?
Of course you do. Well, you don't have to. You have to submit it, right? So a lot of people. This is where this is a theme in life. Even as you get older, we'll talk and be like, "Oh yeah, I do this, I do that," and then when it comes to action, though, like, do we follow through? And I love you guys. I love my students, but I feel like sometimes procrastination, time management, is not always on your side. Would you
Yeah.
guys agree?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I used to be much worse with that, but I think through taking AP classes,
Yeah.
I was kind of forced into not procrastinating anymore because the workload we would get from those classes, it was pretty insane. Especially when I took AP US History, the workload for that class is like a minimum an hour a day. Like,
Oof. But I understand because they're trying to prepare you, right?
Yeah.
So my class is more like about reflection and thinking, and I'm trying to give you tools so that you can do that throughout your life,
yeah,
right?
no, I think I honestly think Discovery Science is very beneficial for like, I don't know, mental state.
Oh, I think every student
Yeah.
coming through Ocean Township High School
Well, we're
should
working
be
on it.
taking Discovery Science.
We're working on it because there's only one me, so we're working on kind of incorporating it into other classes, like your IT class, or
Mhm.
even someone said they wish they can clone me, but obviously that's not allowed yet.
Yeah.
But that's my vision. My vision in life is to have it so that it's accessible even when you're younger.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
the concept so that you know, because how often like middle school was hard. I felt like because I didn't know my
Yeah.
emotions
School
or
was hard.
myself or how to react, right?
Yeah. I feel
And then
that.
we deliver this to you in high school, but imagine if you had these habits sooner,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
If you could separate yourself from the situation.
Maybe I shouldn't have taken this class senior year. Like, everyone told me to save it for senior year because
I
it was
know.
like, oh, it's one of the best electives,
Aw.
and then
Another extra credit point.
now I'm not learning this until senior year. You know.
Yeah.
But now
I
you have
feel-
it for next chapter,
True.
right?
Yeah. I feel like it shouldn't, because I feel like in high school it's more taught, but I feel like if you do it earlier, it can just be like not taught and just kind of like incorporated a lot easier.
Well, 100%. Or just even the topics being covered.
Yeah.
Like, what are emotions? What are you genuinely reacting from a mindful space? What does that mean?
Right.
Because I also coach adults, and I'll have this conversation. They're like, "No, but you don't understand. This is what they're doing," and I'm like, "Well, you can't control that, can you?" And then they don't understand that concept, right? So, and it comes back to like the self and just being able to control what you can. And I feel like if anything, the past 3 years we've been taught like we don't control things.
Yeah.
And when you try to control them, what happens? We get frustrated. We feel defeated.
Yeah.
And it's really about, and I hope this is the lesson that the youth is learning, and even we're being reminded of, is that it's the simple things that really matter when you pay attention to them.
Yeah.
It's not a collection of material stuff. You can have all the money in the world, and it doesn't guarantee happiness. You can achieve and succeed and still feel empty at the end of the day, right? You can have lots of relationships, but what happens if they're not authentic? So
Yeah.
hopefully, reminding you of core values and what life's really about, because, it wasn't until my 20s that I discovered that.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm glad I'm discovering this now before college, man. That'd be
Yeah. It's just like unfortunate that like it's taught like so late.
Yeah.
Because there's people that like they're just angry and like hateful and spiteful
Mhm.
people.
And they
in the
could use the
world.
class, but they don't know. That,
Yeah.
You know?
Well, people aren't open to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only requirement I have, is an open mind and a mindful attitude. And I think in a Chromebook, right?
Yeah.
But, just coming back to that concept of being aware, like, I'm not perfect, obviously. There's times when I'm not aware, especially living in New Jersey and being a driver that commutes every morning. It's not always the most relaxing situation, right? And then life, especially when we can't control, especially if you're in a relationship or you have parents or friends, we have to learn how to respond instead of react. because when people don't know their emotions and they're anxious or they're angry or they're triggered, you take it personally. And that's what we do all day is look at the state of our world right now. If you look outside, it looks like it's falling apart, right? But what people don't understand is that even if we focus on that, it's good to be aware. You should know what's going on 100%. But we have to, what we control is ourselves. So how are you actually showing up instead of worrying about the whole world? Like, how are you showing up for your neighbors? Do you wave to your teachers? Do you smile? Are you kind in your gestures? Do you hold open doors? Do you say thank you? Like, those are the things that really make the difference.
I could definitely be better about that, I think.
I'm all right with it. Like, I got a couple.
Well, that's okay though,
To
because
be honest, I
that's
can be
showing
pretty
you
mean
can
to people
grow.
sometimes, man.
I got a couple weird neighbors, but like.
I mean, we all do. I do.
Yeah, we got weird neighbors.
My neighbors and I have beef because I was playing, Manhunt. It's
Oh, I
in our
remember
neighborhood.
this.
We ran through their yard. And they
How many years ago was this?
Oh, 3?
Okay.
No.
More than that?
It's gotta be like 5 years at least.
And they called the police on us.
This was not during. This was not in high
And
school.
ever since then, they've been my least favorite neighbors.
Well, what do you think they called the police on? Let's talk about that.
Well, the fact that we went through their yard.
So people have like rules and again control, right?
Yeah.
And then when they lose that, they go to fear, and then they try to manipulate the situation or gain control again, right? And that's kind of where we're at.
How they did it, I guess.
So imagine, did you ever apologize to them for going through their yard?
No.
Just wondering. I mean, now it's 3 years later, right?
Yeah,
so
I
you have
mean,
the
yeah.
beef, right? But is there like a time limit when we can make amends?
It depends on. Well.
No, I'll hate them forever.
That's right. And who's that exhausting to though? Because now
Me.
you look at their house and you're
Yeah.
like, neighbors.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Listen, I live in the neighborhood where I went to high school, so
True.
I'm
yeah.
like, I thought I would never be back here. And life's funny, right?
Yeah, it is like that sometimes. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's no timetable for when you can forgive somebody. It does depend on what they did or what you did, obviously. But like,
So you think so? It's the,
if
you
you're
think
forgiving
it's,
enough, like.
So you think it's all based on the severity of the situation?
I mean,
Yes.
yeah, it definitely changes situation to situation, right? Like, first you wouldn't apologize for like a minor transgression like 4 years later,
Yeah,
Unless it was really bothering you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it depends too, right? So on the awareness, because some people can tell that story and it manifests into something different. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Like someone tells a story and it's completely different.
Oh, by the
than-
time it reaches you, yeah.
Right, and then it's like magnified, and then there's like so much emotion in it, it's charged up.
Yeah.
When
That happens a lot in our group. Because
Oh,
it's so. Oh, we have a very large like friend group.
friend
like,
group, yeah.
Our group in total, if you want to like count everybody, is like what 40. 42 people.
Wow.
And so that happens a lot when you have that
The telephone
Yeah,
games,
the
a lot of
telephone game.
emotions, a lot of opinions, a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
Because like it never feels like 40 because it's very rare that everyone's there at once.
Yeah.
So normally it'll be like 20, 25, which
So
is still a very large.
Stories
friend
pass
group.
over the course of days.
I was gonna say, do you think it creates some drama?
Oh yeah, for sure. Stuff gets elevated.
Do you think we're in a dramatic point in life right now, like in
yeah.
society?
Senior
as
year
well?
of
everyone's
high
worried about
school.
themselves,
When you're in your senior year of high school, it's just people just being overly dramatic, just so much tension at all times.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think it's because people are nervous about the change or like
Oh,
stressed
for
out?
sure.
Oh yeah.
So
I
it's
mean-
funny because we have like this space where we're like people are angry or there's so much drama and there's all this, but if we look at the other side of it, right, it's because people are unsure. They're uncertain of what the next chapter is, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was your age, I didn't even really think about it. That's what I choose to remember, right? Is that the truth? I'm not really sure.
That kind of stuff made me like. It's before I knew I was going to college. I was super anxious about it. 'Cause,
Right.
like I wanted to know where I was going, and now I mean I'm not totally, but like I basically know where I'm going, and I
Yeah.
feel a lot better about it. So
Do you think it's because now you feel like you have direction?
yeah, I feel like I can prepare.
You can prepare. What do you think?
I kind of was in.
Well, he's known.
I
where he's
knew
going.
for a while.
And how'd you
'cause-
know?
He's going to run track there.
Oh.
Yeah. So I got. It was kind of like when I was starting to like prepare for. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was when I was like going to prepare for like getting ready to like apply and like researching college. So this is like over like the summer, because I really wasn't looking too much into it junior year. So it was over the summer, and it was just one of those colleges that kind of like spam email, and then it was like
Where are you going?
DeSales University.
Oh.
It's a
Where's that?
small school, Pennsylvania. It's
Okay.
like right by Lehigh.
Okay.
But it was just one of those like colleges that would just like kind of spam with emails, and then like it was kind of just like luck of the draw, I guess, because like they gave us like they sent in like a letter, and we just opened it, and my mom was like, "Oh yeah, this could like really interest you." So I was like, "All right, yeah, like sure, like I'll check out like the campus because it was only like a 2-hour drive." So it's like I'll reach out to like the track coach. Like I love the campus, and like I was talking to like the coach for a while, and I've been back there twice now. And like, it was just such a good experience.
That's awesome.
So,
So you think visiting kind of solidified it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was able to visit, and then I was like staying in contact with the coach for a while.
Right.
And this is over the summer, and then I went back and visited last Wednesday.
That's awesome.
Just kind of like the shadow classes. And I'm doing like psychology, so like it's super cool to do that.
What do you think what are you pursuing?
Forensic psychology.
Oh, okay.
So like profiling,
Okay.
stuff like that, because I think that'd be super cool.
I say pursuing because my major changed like 3 times when I was in college too, right? So you're doing it more for the passion of track?
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Like the passion of track definitely like helped me
Yeah.
make my decision.
But your career was based on like what you wanted
Yeah,
to do for
because
forensics?
the forensic psychology track is kind of niche, so not all colleges have
Yeah,
it.
true. How'd you figure out you want to do that?
AP Psych. Well, I mean,
Okay.
I kind of had like, because I kind of always wanted to be in like law enforcement,
Sure.
and then it kind of switched from like police officer to more like on the psychological side of it. So like I was like, all right, I'll just take AP Psych junior year to kind of see how I like it, and it was one of the best classes I
Oh,
ever took.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah,
just
that
was
was a
fun.
great class. It was hard.
It was hard.
It was a good
Oh,
class.
it's
but
challenging,
it
right?
made you
It
think.
makes you
like it
think.
always made you think.
That's the point
Minnesota
of it,
West is
right?
an incredible lecturer.
Oh,
too.
she's great.
She's
a
probably one.
good friend of
She's
mine.
probably the smartest person I know.
Yeah, seriously.
For
She's
sure.
crazy.
It's
like
terrifying how much she knows.
Oh, she's experienced, right? And she's
Yeah.
thirsty for that knowledge. So when you have that, she's so passionate about science and psychology. She actually has her master's in like guidance counseling too.
Yeah,
which
those are
makes
the
her-
kind of lectures I like to listen to.
Right.
Yeah.
I listen to those for hours.
because it's like a story. It's interesting.
yeah, it is. It's almost like a
Storytelling
story
within
with
facts,
information packed
right?
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's super interesting. To
I
listen
resonate
to.
with that.
And it was terrible when I had to take it online for. 'Cause
Yeah.
I had it end of sophomore year.
Right.
Right when it started.
right.
And so I only got like the first month or two in person, and the rest was
Right.
online. I feel like I kind
Do
of.
you think that changes like that whole?
I
that
might have
changed
missed
the
out. Oh,
connection?
absolutely.
'Cause you
I
had
had-
me virtually
I had you virtually, and then I had you
for majority, right?
No, I had you second semester,
Right.
like junior year. So at least like, cause then like by like April we were going in 4 days a week.
Okay, perfect.
So I had like that. I had that kind of experience, but I didn't have it like enough.
yeah,
So like I
Yeah.
kind of got the difference between like what it would be like in AP Psych, because a lot of AP Psych over COVID when we were virtual
Mhm.
3 days a week would just be like, oh, these recorded lectures. So it didn't really have any
Right.
emotion to it.
Yeah, it
Right.
wasn't the same.
But when we were going in like 4 days a week, like she was able to really connect with us a lot
Right.
easier. And like if we had questions, it would be answered like that instead of like kind of like writing your question down in a notebook and then waiting for like a couple
Right.
days to ask
How
it.
did you operate when it was online? Like I can't imagine your class online.
It was difficult. I'm not gonna lie. It was very challenging, but I feel like we get pushed to try and learn new things, right? So technology and me have a love-hate relationship, even more so now these days. But I feel like it forced me to adapt into something that and make it a class that could be taught online.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so much of the even now you're seeing it. Like I have to be patient with the connections we build because you guys were separated,
Oh yeah.
right?
For months,
I feel like-
completely isolated.
Right, and even the past 2 years. So like now I feel like I have to break down walls and break down, resistance and the fear of that so that you can connect again. So what used to take me maybe 3 weeks for you guys to be like, oh, hug, high five, talk about this, now it takes me almost 2 months,
Yeah.
almost 3 months. So I had to adjust my lessons for that. I had to structure it a little bit differently. But I feel like, was it still effective from the feedback my students gave me compared to years before? Yes. I feel like people still got the concept. I feel like it's the intention. Do you ever feel
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
is important to things, right?
Well, I always, like, the effort I put into a class is often determined on how much the teacher cares.
Mm,
And obviously, you care a lot about what you teach.
I do.
And so I want to put more effort in because you care about that. But, like, I've had teachers in the past that are just like, they're definitely just there just to be
It's
there.
Why do you
kinda
think
like
that
a-
happens, though? Why do you think?
Because they're sick of teaching, but they
There's a lot of
they
teachers that
can't
get
afford to
burned out and
retire.
just kind of like start going through the motions.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
It becomes routine. Like that can happen not just in teaching, but
Oh, yeah, it
in
happens all
any
over the
job,
place,
right?
yeah.
Like it's a 9 to 5. You show up, you do your thing, you do the same thing, and routine's healthy. But it's like that balance of
Routine's
life,
healthy,
right?
but eventually you kind of become like a zombie. Just
Yeah.
If you
life.
can't get a break from every once in a
Right.
while,
And but it happens with anything. Like so for even me, for mindfulness, like when I was checking off boxes, like, oh, I gotta meditate, oh, I gotta do this, and I'm not connected to it
You're not
emotionally.
into it, yeah.
I'm robotic, so it's not as effective as if I'm fully present, right? Which is what I'm trying to, make sure I voice a lot, because I feel like we've come to a state and age where everything's recorded. Everything's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at the past, like TikTok. I know it's popular, or Instagram, or Snapchat, and I don't think we understand what that's doing to our psyche. What's that doing to us emotionally?
Yeah. I've wanted to get rid of social media for a long time.
Social media.
Do you think that'll ever happen?
I have a
That they'll
love-hate
be like,
relationship with
No.
social media.
Do?
Right now, no, because having social media is kind of essential in social groups for communication.
Sure.
A lot of people communicate through Snapchat, or they
Right.
send pictures through Instagram.
Right.
Look at this. Oh, I don't have Snapchat. Like, what's wrong with you?
I don't have that. I do have Instagram and Facebook, but everyone's like, Facebook's outdated. So I actually removed that from my phone and stuff. But I almost caught myself, and I'm aware, just doing it as part of like,
Oh, yeah,
now it's the next
I do
thing
it
to
a
check.
ton, yeah.
Whenever someone messaged me, do you feel like you're conscious of like who you follow and what you're posting and what you're sharing?
I'm definitely conscious of what I post. I very rarely post. I don't post much. My Instagram has like 5 posts, and it's all just like me traveling.
Okay. Are you more an observer?
Yeah.
Like you're like.
I just go
observer?
through other people's stories and and post and see what's up.
What do you see like is trending? Like what are like we talking about these days? Like what's
I see a lot of posts about how people miss the beach a lot, especially around here. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I wish it was summer," and that's pretty common around this time of year. You get a lot of those.
Especially in March when it's like 70.
Yeah.
And then it's like 12.
And then it's
I
like today.
I've had Instagram for. I got it my freshman year, so 3 years now.
Wow, I got mine in 6th grade.
Yeah, I stayed off Instagram for a while. I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have a phone and stuff?
Yeah, I had a phone. I just had Snapchat until high school, pretty much.
Right. Because you don't know what it's like to grow up without like a phone, right?
Yeah.
No,
No.
I've had a
Like, or
phone since I was in
technology.
5th or 6th grade.
I had a
Yeah.
phone. I had like a slide phone. I wasn't
Right.
like an iPhone. And then I got my first iPhone, and I've had iPhone ever since. But my first 2 years of social media, of Instagram, I didn't post one bit.
Okay.
And then
Now I post like a little. Yeah.
I have 5 posts. I posted all of them. We would all be in the last year.
Okay. Are you mindful, you think, to who you follow and like what the information? Like, do you like question it, or is it more of like an acceptance? Like, oh, they posted, and like, 'cause I feel like it's so quick these days.
I
that
think
it's
I
like a
definitely
flash.
I do a lot scroll like mindlessly through and just kind of like
Right.
sometimes I do this thing where I like posts without even looking at the post.
I do the same thing.
I just like
And
I'll be
why
on
would you
Instagram and be like
because of
like
the person who
like
did it, or just to be supportive?
It's just kind of like-
it's a physical habit, like to the point where I have muscle memory of like everything I do. It's just like every post regardless of what it is.
Do you think your generation understands that, like how it's affecting you?
I think
Do you
I think some have a grasp of what it's
Yeah.
like, but like I don't think that everyone in our generation realizes that they're doing it. So it's kind of hard for them to realize it and then change that if they're
yeah,
going to try.
because we're so into it now,
Like, how do we have that conversation? Like, what do you think? Like, you
I
need
don't
to
know.
hear,
Because
Well, 'cause
it
it's
would
not-
require fundamental changes in the way that people our age communicate,
right?
which is, I mean, it's like near impossible.
So we have to bring talking back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we would.
but there's like so many talks of like, oh yeah, like your kid's addicted to your phone and like you're addicted to social media, and no one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Like no one wants
No
to.
one wants to hear it.
No one wants to hear that because like no one thinks it's true.
Right.
Like everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, I could get rid of my phone for like a week, like if I wanted to.
Right.
But like it's so much harder than that sounds.
Right. So like I mean I do teach about technology and the importance of mindful technology and even just like how we rely on our phones, what we use it for, right? So there's definitely positive ways, right?
Yeah.
So you can text a friend, call somebody, use your calendar, listen to podcasts, all of that I support 100%. But when it becomes I can't sit here and function without checking my scroll.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes that. So how do we make them aware? What do you think? Because if you bring it to their attention, they're like, no, I'm good. And then 5 seconds later, as a teacher, I feel like I experience a lot, even though I'm liked,
No,
It's-
kids these days can't even take 15 minutes
Right.
without checking their phone.
They say the average person checks their phone closer to 200 times a day.
Yeah,
They have stats in the settings on your iPhone now. You can see how many times you check your phone.
And I also have like the survey where I make my kids tell me anonymously like how much time they spend on their phone.
I spend a pretty decent
And
amount
the
of time on my
average
phone.
time here is, well, this is last year, like in the beginning of last semester was around 9 to 10 hours a day.
9?
Oh
Okay,
my
I'm not on my
God.
phone that much.
I'm on, like-
my average
That
screen
was
time
the
is like
school
5 or
average.
6. I think.
I'm on like 6 to 7.
Okay, so let's just talk about that for a moment. So you both said 5 to 6, 6 to 7,
Yeah.
so 6 hours a day. And if you multiply that, how many hours a week is that?
Oh, I'm
Close
bad
to
at math.
50.
So that's like a full-time job, right?
That's rough, man.
If you think about it that way, are
But like, you
getting
never
paid for
realize it because I feel like a lot of it's just like kind of like background stuff.
Wanted
Or
to
you're
shout out
Well, 'cause
Bay.
it's never
Bay for
like
being
it's
here.
never like an hour at a time.
Shout out to Albert Einstein.
Shout out to
man.
Albert Einstein
Shout out
for
to
being
Albert
on the
Einstein.
podcast.
He did so much.
This is my favorite mug. It says imagination is more important than knowledge. I'm trying to make that trend again.
I forgot Albert Einstein socks.
He sucks?
Yeah, I got
Oh,
socks.
socks. I thought you said he sucked.
Oh no
I was
no no
like,
no
why are you
no
trying
no.
to break my heart?
No
on the
way.
podcast?
I could never.
Yeah.
No, I got socks.
I know you wore them for me. You showed me.
No, I got those are the Bob Ross socks.
You're right. I was.
No, I got these Albert Einstein socks a couple months ago,
Oh, okay.
and I kind of have like the superstition for track when I'm
Uh-huh.
running. I always make sure I'm wearing like crazy
That's
socks.
awesome. I love that. Tradition.
Tradition.
Right?
Like a lot for all of track season last year would be the Bob Ross socks. I always made sure I ran in those. And then this season it's been a couple different socks. I've had a lot.
That's awesome. I love Albert Einstein because I love
So-
his whole belief in life, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about things that we're just now believing back then,
Yeah.
right? That we're understanding law of
Yeah.
resonance and all of these things. And so going back to the phone though situation, 'cause I feel like it distracts us from being present, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if I have my phone in class, there's a good chance I'm not going to be paying attention to a decent amount of it.
Yeah, but every student has their phone now. So how do
Yeah.
what do you think we do in order to shift
I
that?
don't know. I mean, you can't take it from them because it's an essential communication device still
Right.
today. But
How did we survive? How did I survive in school?
I don't
You
know,
We
didn't-
wrote notes.
you didn't
Do
ha-
you remember that? Do you guys ever do that? How to write a note? I'm feeling aged.
maybe in
here.
elementary school.
Oh my
God, I
God.
couldn't
Maybe
remember
before I had a phone.
I couldn't remember the last time I wrote a note to someone in class.
And what do you think? Do you think that there's any like negative factors from using our phones so much? Like, do you guys
for sure, there's
experience anything?
tons. I mean, you feel anxious and you know what FOMO is? Like,
Fear of missing out.
I mean, that's like the biggest thing for me. I always see other people having fun on social media. I'm like, I wish I was having fun. like,
So, but the thing is, we're taking that picture at face value, right?
yeah, exactly. You don't think about it much more than that. You're like, oh, wow, look at them at a party. That's fun. And then
Right.
you move on, then you feel bad.
So we assume that that person's having more fun, and that person's having fun, right? We look at this picture, let's say, of you on the beach with a surfboard, and you're like, oh, and I'm sitting here at work, or I'm at
Yeah.
home alone, and we see what you're doing, and then we're like, well, why can't I do that?
Yeah, I know that kind of stuff has an effect on me. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. I still do it just out of habit, you know?
And we assume because he's at the beach and somewhere we want to be that Ryan's mindset's good. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's probably having a blast.
Yeah.
Have you ever surfed and been anxious?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
God,
went
yeah.
surfing in Hurricane.
Right?
I went surfing in Hurricane Dorian
Wow.
a couple years ago. You remember that? I
That was
I don't,
dumb.
Because I know you're
It
both
was
surfers,
it was
right?
dumb. We shouldn't have gone.
I wasn't there for that. I didn't have
I mean,
a
the waves
surfboard
were like
yet.
15 feet. I
That's
was
big.
terrified, and I
That's
still went
large.
out there.
I don't think I was in town actually for that day
But a bunch of us went out that day because we were dumb.
because it was
Right.
15-foot waves.
Oh,
I was
Because
Because
it was
it's,
15-foot waves and like we're cool and you know. Like,
Yeah,
And
we're
you
gonna
went
surf
in
during a
it.
hurricane.
You
Yeah.
went in it.
I was terrified that whole
Terrified.
time. I mean, and I'm pretty sure I still posted about it after it happened.
You're like, best time ever.
yeah, exactly. And
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah.
I was horrified the entire time. I mean, because these were the biggest waves I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like,
15 feet's big.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in 4-foot waves, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was
Like, as a-
legitimately terrifying.
Like as a beginner surfer, like you're seeing like 6-foot waves,
Mhm.
and that's like what like the max
Mhm.
comes
That-
out.
and that's scary for beginners, man.
That's terrifying for
Yeah.
beginners.
Right.
Like because I really only started surfing like big time this year,
Mhm.
and it's like I would see like those 6-foot waves, and I'd be like, maybe
Well,
next
especially
time.
because those worries are legitimate. Because I've hurt myself surfing before.
Right.
I had the one day in September where I was surfing like decently like 6 or 7 foot waves, and they were breaking like on the sand,
Right.
and I couldn't pull out of one, and I just
And that
Oh, I
changes your
remember that.
and then
experience, right?
I hit the sand, wave crashed over me,
Oh.
and my board comes up over and hits me in the face.
I had that happen with paddleboarding.
Yeah, it's scary.
And then that becomes like part of your story,
Yeah,
right? So now you're
exactly.
like, I love surfing, but I remember that time
yeah,
I
exactly.
got so hurt.
I always think about it because it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I thought I like broke my nose.
But how come you didn't stop surfing?
Because I
from
loved
that?
it too much.
You love it too much.
Yeah.
You guys are so lucky because we live so close to the
Oh,
beach,
I
right?
yeah.
know. I
There's
don't know
so
how I'm
many
going to go
people
to
who
college
never-
and not be near the beach because I'm going to University of South Carolina,
My favorite state.
and it's still a couple hours from the beach. So
Right.
I don't
What
know.
are you going there for?
Computer science.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
yeah, I've always been the technology guy.
Yeah.
Everyone comes to me with their computer problems.
I didn't know this. Now I
Yeah.
know. More extra credit.
Because
right?
my dad works in IT tech.
Yeah.
He works for Morgan Stanley.
Okay.
And then he works in their like tech department. They're
Sure.
making sure all the computers are running and making sure that, you know, when they roll out a feature that it all goes smoothly, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so ever since he like showed me what he did, I was always interested in it. So
I was gonna say, do you think that influenced you?
Oh, for sure.
And because he was passionate about it, that
Yeah.
made you interested, right?
And also, like, I love video games. And
Right.
he always got me into video games. He got me into video games when I was young because he used to play them too. So he kind of got me into the whole field entirely.
Yeah.
So.
Are you playing the new Elden Ring?
I'm not yet, but I will be soon.
Oh, Ryan's like, oh, this is the best thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know. I'm sure my students like it, right? I didn't really get into that, but even like with surfing. So, and I get video games can be like enjoyable, right? So that's part of like what you do for you, right?
Yeah.
Is that part of your like enjoyment?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like relaxing, you know.
Right. And with surfing, I love though that you guys do it. It's because you're in the present, so it's like moving meditation,
Yeah, no phones in the water.
right? And that's what Einstein talked about because you know he used to ride his bike everywhere. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I feel like I heard. I'm not a science
I
teacher.
don't know much
so I
about
heard a lot.
Albert Einstein, to be fair. Like, I know, I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay. But he used to ride his bike everywhere because he said that was a moving meditation. And that's actually where he got a lot of his ideas when he was riding his bike around. That like thoughts would come to him. Do you think that we're giving you guys, like your generation, or even maybe just in general in society, we give ourselves enough space to be inspired naturally?
No.
No, I mean, yeah, I feel like, especially around here in the Northeast, everything is like very go. Like, move quickly, do everything as fast as you can.
And now you're going to South Carolina where it's a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit-
going to be so different. Everyone down there, because I mean, I've been down there before. I love going to, the Carolinas are like one of my favorite places to
too.
be. I love the Carolinas. I like to go surf down there in North Carolina sometimes. And then I went to go visit the campus over the summer, and that's when I fell in love with the school. Which is actually, it's like a whole thing because I got deferred and then I got waitlisted and I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm not going to get it. And then just last weekend they accepted me and I was like, oh my God, no way.
Wow.
But yeah.
Patience, right?
Yeah, exactly. I thought I was done. I thought I was starting to consider other options because I didn't think I had any chance of getting in. But what was I just saying?
You were talking about
Oh,
surfing.
going down
and
there. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be far away from the beach when I'm down there, so it's gonna be difficult.
So what are you going to replace it with? What do you think?
I don't know, man, because I snowboard too, and I can't do that in the Carolinas either. So
What about hiking, bike riding?
I like to ride my bike. I used to be pretty good at it too. I used to be able to like stand up on the seat and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I have a fear. See, things happen, right? So I broke my front teeth out in fifth
Ooh.
grade on a bike.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And that kind of, but I still love it for some reason. That's one of the things I'm not afraid of. Snowboarding, a little bit, because I had a fear there.
We didn't do it much this past year because, you know, we all started driving, and the novelty of that kind
Right.
of, it's worn off for me now. I don't know about other people.
Oh,
but I don't
never
want to.
I never want to drive.
Yeah.
Never want to drive?
Never want to drive.
Drive where? In New Jersey?
Just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
done
like-
driving, man.
Are we bringing bikes back? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm gonna
Bicycles?
try and bike again this summer, and then when it gets warmer, and then
Right.
I also skateboard a lot. So
Okay.
I do all
Yeah.
the boards. I do every.
I mean, I
kind of
feel
board
like-
sport.
Like I feel like
I
when
like
we're
that.
not like if it's not a surf day, like we'll
We could
probably
skate
ride
to the
our
beach,
bikes.
yeah,
Like we
dude.
skate to the beach,
Okay.
ride our bikes.
So you're doing stuff that you can't, and these are all things that you need your full attention to be doing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like because anytime you start to get in your head, when you surf or you skateboard or you're doing any of those things, what happens?
You mess up.
Oh yeah,
You
I
break,
was.
you break the flow.
Yeah,
right?
I was skateboarding. It was like a year and a half ago at this point. But I was like skateboarding to a friend's house just to play football, and I hit a little like a small little indent in the street, and I went and
Oh, yeah.
busted my chin open. Like I
Right.
fell face first. Like
Yeah, there's
Was
been
it because you weren't
bang.
paying attention, or is it because?
I get no. I wouldn't even say I wasn't paying attention. Like I
Uh-huh.
just didn't. I wasn't looking like dead ahead.
Right.
And I wasn't like on my phone or anything while I'm skateboarding, which I do sometimes. But like,
Yeah.
Danny.
You do sometimes.
yeah.
I see that. I'm like, how are you doing that? Like, I
But,
watch my
like-
neighbors. I'm like, aren't you worried?
I had a phone mount.
I get
for my
nervous
bike.
walking and being on my phone.
I had a phone mount for my bike. I'll put it in the middle.
Oh my goodness. You think the pendulum's gonna swing the other way? You think we're gonna start being like, I'm so over this, like we're like defeated?
I mean,
in
if
this
we
space.
spread the message, I think we definitely could.
How do we do
I don't
that?
think it is. I disagree because I think there's just so much like new stuff that's always constantly coming out, and people are always attracted to the
That's
shiny.
true,
People will
'cause
always be attracted to the
Instant
shiny object.
gratification, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people might start coming back to the being mindful and like trying to live a healthier lifestyle like that, but then the next big, fancy thing comes out and everyone's attention is just like,
Like the iPhone 22 coming out.
Yeah,
Look at this!
Oh,
Look at this!
gotta have
Look
it.
at this cool camera.
yeah, exactly.
But
It's
I don't
like-
think we understand, though, this from my perspective, that we are starting to diminish like things that actually take time. Like you said, it took a lot of time for you to get accepted into school.
Yeah.
And like that, having patience, or like maybe focusing on the belief that good things like
Well, and
take time to
even
build.
after just a couple of months, I had already started to write it off. You know,
Right.
like, oh, it's out of the question now. But
And what happens if you were like, oh, maybe it's just they're just really weighing
Yeah,
the
I wouldn't
option,
have been so upset about it initially. You know, like.
and you've been like trusting, and
Yeah,
that probably would have
exactly.
changed the way you felt, right? Because I think a lot of you guys get anxieties and stressors about the unknown. Just like we do, right?
yeah.
I'm like, what's going to happen next year? What's going to, you know, or what's happening this summer? And we try to
Oh,
plan
yeah,
and
for sure.
control.
I feel like especially at this point in my life, because there's so much new stuff that's going to be happening.
Right, right.
Going into college and.
Well, how do you stay grounded if you're not going to surf and you're not going to?
Oh, I don't know. I got to
What
figure out something else to do.
meditation? Do you ever think about meditation? I know we do it in class.
I've done it a couple times,
Right.
like on my own.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hard
obviously
in
it
the
takes
beginning.
practice. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never been very good at it, but I've tried it.
Right.
So just to try and like, I did it a lot when I had AP classes because I
Mhm.
got very stressed out over the workload because my junior year I took multiple APs at once,
Mm.
and then that stressed me out because I had just a lot of work to do,
Right.
and then I would procrastinate because I didn't even want to start it.
Well, because we think the pain of doing the actual activity is more than not doing it, but we realize that that's not
yeah,
true.
but I mean, it
right?
helped me develop good habits because I had no choice.
Okay.
You know, it
Right.
forced me to be able to get a large amount of work done in a short amount of time. You know, and to learn habits for. Because I developed a system, I would do like 1 hour work, 20-minute break, 1 hour work,
Oh,
20-minute
that's
break.
good.
I
I
would do
like
that,
that.
a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when I took history.
It takes a lot of self-control too, because I feel like a lot of people want to do that, but then do they actually do that, right? You get distracted. Oh, I'm just gonna watch this video real quick, or I'm just gonna check my email, and I'm just gonna have this conversation. And then we have like 16 tabs open.
Yeah, it's
And then we're,
definitely
like,
hard
in a
to
big
stay
circle.
focused on one thing
Right,
for a long.
right.
I mean, they talk about all the time how the attention span of our generation is shorter. I definitely notice it. I can't
1000%.
pay
Oh,
attention to things
sure.
for a long time. That's why I try to read. I try,
Right.
but I can only get through like a few pages.
Do you think it's because of the way we're like conditioning you with the fast, like the TikTok, like
Oh,
the
yeah,
1
no.
minute,
I
and
mean,
then the Snapchat?
TikTok is all based around being fast. Like
Right.
the videos are like 15 seconds long. Like
Mhm.
next thing. You know, like that's just how we operate now.
Do you think we have to hit like that bottom part before like we start like seeing that it's affecting us, like
Yeah,
for change?
we have to get to like a point where our attention spans are really bad to the point where it's like detrimental before it comes back the other way. I think.
So you think that's what's going to happen? What do you think, Danny?
I have to agree. I mean, like, I think it's only just going to be a downward spiral, and just people are just so sucked into their phones at all times. And, like, you'll just be, like, anywhere. You should, like, if you're anywhere, like, you just look around you and just going to be people that
Like
are.
this.
Yeah.
Everyone's like this. So you're hanging out with your friends, but are you really there?
Yeah.
Right?
We were just doing that yesterday. We were at where were we at yesterday?
Five Guys.
Oh, we were at Five Guys yesterday, and
Mm.
we all sitting at our table. I'm on my phone, and then I look up, and everybody else is on their phones. I actually, like, for the first time in a long time, consciously noticed that.
Mm.
And
How did it make you feel?
disconnected.
Mm.
Because I was the only one looking up, and everyone else was looking at their phone. I was like, maybe I should.
But you were just looking at your phone.
I was guilty of it too.
Right.
But I looked up and noticed it, and I was like, oh, this is really bad.
This is what we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Because what happens is when we get so sucked into this, we start to lose emotion, right? We start to lose compassion, empathy. We don't make the best choices. We do things just out of habit.
Yeah, it's just weird because like when do you see a group of 6 teenagers sitting at a table quietly, you know, like and just on
Or
their
just
phone,
being
like,
present,
yeah.
right? I mean, and me and my friends, I mean, I'm definitely a little older than you, early 20s, I guess.
Yeah.
Being 36, you know, my generation, I graduated high school in 2003. So that's like when you guys were born, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
2003.
Oh my God, it's devastating. Okay, cut that out. Just kidding. But you know, we make a point. Like when I'm with my friends, we're like, all right, we're all gonna be present. We're all gonna be here, and we don't take our phones out. So you think that's something that you could even suggest? Like, would people go for that if you?
I think there'd be some friends that are open to it, but I think there's a lot of people that they don't think critically enough to even
Mhm.
notice that. A lot of people only think it's surface level.
Mm. So what do you guys talk about? Like when you're talking?
I mean, anything. Like we talk about a lot of things.
There's so much stuff. But
We get passionate over really like
Dumb
weird stuff. Like
things.
we'll argue over like what's the best fruit is for like an hour.
Okay. Do you think that there's a way that you can like evolve the conversation and be like, so I was just thinking about this today. You can even use me as a catalyst because you still have me in class.
Yeah.
Like Mr. DeMuro was talking about this. What do you guys think? Do you ever like have that
I-
as a conversation?
we do, but
Occasionally.
yeah, not often.
But like it won't be like someone's used as a catalyst. It'll be like, oh, this happened
Right.
And then it's not really like let's talk about it. It's just kind of like someone gives their opinion and just kind of.
So more like a vent sesh.
Yeah.
Like
It is.
venting
It's a
about
lot
it.
of again, it's a lot of surface level like
Right.
Because with
just
having
saying what you think.
with
you
having
know?
such a large group, there's always a lot of pent up frustration
Right.
that someone
'Cause
has
someone doesn't
else.
like somebody, and when in a group that big, there are people that don't like each other.
Right. Oh, so like it's separated within the group.
Yeah.
There are groups within the group.
Okay. And what does that feel like? Because I'm starting to see that, and this is usually my class is very cohesive, right? But I can see through events and things like that people change their personality, not their personalities, their perspectives of each other, or something happens, or
a lot of people don't get included in certain things, and it's not. I guess it's not for the lack of wanting to include them, but with a group that big, I can't have.
Sometimes you just don't
I
wanna be
can't-
included.
I can't host 40 people. My house is one floor. Like
right,
I don't.
right.
I don't
of
have
course,
that kind of
of
space.
course, you have to be
know,
selective. Like I have a lot of friends too, but
but I don't want to exclude anybody. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's why I just very rarely, if ever, have people over.
so then instead of just being selective, maybe you could be rotational in that. Like,
I
okay,
could,
this
yeah.
week I'm going to have these people. Is that possible? Something that you could do?
It's probably something I could do. Yeah. I mean,
Well, you're both here and you're both part of the same friend group. So, like,
Yeah.
can I hold you accountable now to start having these conversations and changing?
We
the
can
way-
try.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, what usually end up happening is we have like a couple people in the group who have larger houses, and we always just end up going there.
Right.
But that doesn't always happen. And then when they can't,
Mm-hmm.
nothing happens.
Well, I mean, even talk the way that we talk about to each other, the way that we talk about things. Like, is there a way that we can shift that instead of being just like, oh, what's your favorite food? Why is that your favorite food? Tell me.
We
about
can
that.
try.
It would be difficult.
It would be difficult because it would just end up like I feel like it would end up still just like snowballing into like a giant like event session.
If you started asking why to understand, do you think it would
Yeah.
be venting?
Yes.
Yeah, because someone would disagree, and then
Because someone would either disagree or someone would just kind of like take their why as like, oh, it's my opportunity to rant about something.
yeah,
Which is what you guys already do anyway. So how would that be different?
I feel like people don't listen to each other anymore.
Ooh. You think we reply just to be
We
heard?
reply because to be a part of the conversation, but no one actually hears what the other person is saying.
How do we change that?
I mean, I always try to listen to people. Like
I try to listen.
consciously try to be a better listener, because I do it too.
You do it too, like,
'Cause
like just responding?
Yeah, exactly. People only hear what you want to say, so that they can say what they want to say immediately after. A lot.
That's what they say. One of the biggest problems with communication is that most people aren't listening to understand. They're listening to reply. They're
Exactly.
listening to say what they want to.
If you just sit there and listen to somebody and ask them questions about what they want to say, they'll like you a lot more.
Well,
I feel like
that's-
it's a lot easier to do it in like a small group of like
It is,
10
yeah,
or
'cause it's
less.
much more intimate.
Like if you're gonna have a group of
Right.
like 10 or less, but you're gonna have a group of 40 people talking to each other. Like nothing's gonna
That's a
get
lot.
done.
That's a lot,
Well, because
right?
you have to divide up your time with 40 different people. You're only going to get like a few minutes with each person. But with you have like 5 to 10 people, you can spend a lot of time with those people. You
They
know?
say magic happens in a group of 2 or more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That like collectively, like we feel like the conversation and it flows instead of being like choppy or
Yeah.
event session, which might happen when you have that much energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And why do you think those people are venting?
Because they have pent up. I wouldn't call it rage. It's not always like an angry rant, you know.
Right.
But
No.
pent up emotion, I guess.
Yeah, like we want to be heard, right?
Yeah.
I think
But
that's
then
all-
again, no one's listening to them. You know, they're only just listening so that
There's
they
a
can
lot
say
of people
what they want to say.
There's a lot of people who never have like a floor to speak on,
Mm.
and so sometimes they'll just kind of like use like that
When
time
they
with
get
their
it, they-
friends.
They
yeah,
get it.
when they get it, they use it, and they'll kind of just go off on these tangents.
Yeah, I feel like talking nowadays is honestly it gets competitive sometimes.
Mm.
Who can have the best story? Who can say
The
this? who can-
one-uppers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because people feel like they're not being heard.
Yeah.
So imagine if we started changing the way conversation was and started listening and hearing each other and almost like dividing the attention so that people could all have that space.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you try to do it.
Do I?
I hope
Is
so.
that what I'm doing now?
I think so. I mean, we're supposed to be the interviewers here. You're asking us a lot of
Oh,
questions.
sorry.
Yeah. No, it's
Am
all
I
right.
taking over the
I'm
interview?
happy to answer. If you want to know our perspectives, I'm happy to give it.
Well,
It's
that's why I just wanted to get out
adults
there.
very rarely ask us for our opinions on anything, so
Because I want to hear you.
Right.
because they all just think we're dumb, which
Oh.
We're all
a
just-
lot of us are. So you know.
I don't
Yeah.
think you're dumb. I think you're so capable. That's why I love teaching still, is because I think you're at this beautiful space where you can see both sides of the coin.
Oh yeah.
Where your perspective, like you can, even if you disagree with me, you haven't been in that space long enough to be combative.
Yeah.
If
no,
it's facilitated
I would
right.
never audibly disagree with you
Right?
on anything. Like,
But you'd hear me if I was
Yeah.
like, I hear you, but my experience is.
that's the better way to do it because a lot of people our age are just like.
No.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's
like,
wrong. It's
You're
like
wrong,
this.
and here's why.
Yeah. Like,
Right.
And then that just creates an argument.
Well,
you know?
even by you two changing the way that you do this now, because now the seed's planted, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And now this could be the conversation that other people hear too, and just like a reminder.
Yeah, I've definitely been trying to do more of that. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, people will want to talk to you.
I mean,
if
I
you
wasn't
just
always
listen.
like this when I was your age, baby.
Yeah, and
Okay.
not everyone is, to be fair. You know,
Right.
most people aren't.
Usually, it takes enough pain for us to change.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Or enough joy, which we rarely choose because we're like, oh, there's no problems. Just like we don't do the work until it's necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we procrastinate. We think that, oh, this is going to last forever, this energy. Like, usually I'm pretty high energy or pretty positive, but I'm still human.
Yeah, exactly.
And things still happen. So, like, how do we prepare for all of that, right?
Yeah, it's hard, you know, especially
Yeah.
at this age, because it's hard to do it when the people that surround you don't,
Mm.
and then they think it's weird that you're trying to. People think it's weird that you try to improve on yourself, like
Yeah.
that you're consciously trying to improve yourself. People
And
don't.
who are these people? Are
don't
these
like
ones
that
that,
for
you
some
want,
reason.
that you need to impress?
No, I mean it's just. I don't feel the need
You know
to
how many people
impress.
tell me I'm weird?
Yeah,
You know,
true.
you
I'm
know how
sure
many
plenty-
people
I'm
tell
sure
me,
plenty
like,
do.
when I first started teaching Discovery Science, they're like, what's that? What do you kids do? They nap in class? I'm like,
Well, that's
no.
what I heard.
Right?
All
Oh, you heard?
Well, because friends who I've had who've taken the class before come back to me, I was like, "Yo, I just slept in Mr. Muro's class." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like,
Wait, it's called meditation. We do it on Wellness Wednesdays, right?
"Yeah."
Um,
Did you have Wellness Wednesday while you were online?
I did.
It was so hard.
I did. And it
Like,
was,
not like the actual stuff, but like it was so hard to like have like a message come across.
Yeah.
yeah, so like for Wellness Wednesday, what I would do is I would record a yoga session through an app that I have, and then I would record a meditation. So I was believing my students to do it on their own. I mean, it's the best I can do unless I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, everyone, turn off your cameras. Here we are. And I tried that for like more of a guided
That's
one.
that's that control again.
Right. So I have to let go
Yeah.
and believe whoever needs this is going to do it. And there's nothing I can do. I can't go to each one of your houses and be like, are you paying attention to me? Because
Yeah,
that makes me
exactly.
feel drained. It makes me feel like I'm not, even in class now. Like, you don't think there's kids that probably aren't listening sometimes?
Oh yeah, I know there's kids that aren't listening.
You do? Who are they?
Yeah.
Tell me their names.
You gotta rat 'em
I'm
out.
just
I
kidding.
don't
I'm
know-
just
I
kidding.
don't
I'm
know
just
So if
I
you want
don't
those
know
extra
most
credit
kids.
points,
I'm
you gotta
just
rat them out
kidding.
right
Yeah.
now.
But
I don't know most of the kids in that class anyway.
Yeah,
So.
well, that's the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
like, this is a dynamic I've never experienced. Like, a month in, like, everyone knows each other, and everyone
I
was
don't-
comfortable working with each other pre-pandemic. And now it's kind of like no one wants to talk. What do you guys do? And I say, okay, you got 10 minutes left. What do you want to do? What happens to the class?
Go on my phone.
You go on your phone.
I don't have cell service in your class though, so that's a blessing in disguise.
My solar
Yeah, you're lucky.
panels
You're
are
lucky to be
working.
in that e-hall. There's no service.
There's no cell
There's no
service.
service, but I got the most Pokemon in the school.
That's
you know what
true.
I mean? Can't help
Mm.
it. Pokemon Go. But I feel like it forces us sometimes. But again, is it convenient to just be like, oh, I just need to be? Because we get conditioned for that, right? So you just want to check your phone. You just want to be quiet. You just want to tune in. And it happens in every class, in every grade.
Yeah. Well, I often do it because I'm like, I don't like being on my phone. I don't like it.
Mm.
I hate Snapchat. I hate it so much.
But
and
you
I-
use it.
But I use it a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I need to,
Mm.
Yeah.
and I'm aware of it. I
And
don't.
that's a paradox that we live in, right? So, like, even for me, like, I'd rather have conversation, but how often are we given time now, even in school, right? When's your time that you get to really talk? That's
Well, and I
planned.
feel like social media, it makes people feel like they don't need to go
Mm.
out and do things because they have, quote unquote constant connection, but
Mm.
they don't really, it's not real
It's
connection.
not. Yeah. It's not real connection.
Well, it's a facade, right? Like you even said, you see a picture and you're like, oh, they must be having such a great time.
But I think it eliminates part of the drive to go out and talk to people sometimes.
Well,
Or
because
it
we've been
reduces the
forced,
drive.
right? We've been forced to be isolated. So now we've been conditioned for that. So now we have to be able to be willing to be uncomfortable, to be like, hey, man, how are you today?
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on? Because we don't realize the power of eye contact and the power of looking and feeling each other. And I mean, like as far as like our heart space and just being live and it's not planned. So you don't know what's going to happen. Like in this podcast, we didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. That's just how it
Right?
unfolds.
But like I can manipulate a post and be like, woke up like this. Perfect day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind you, I feel like my anxiety is at an all-time high. I feel alone. I feel unheard. So
But that's why I feel like people like post a lot of those because like
Mm.
they don't have like that self validation.
That's
So
always how
they'll
I felt. The more someone posts, usually the less they feel of themselves. I think.
Yeah.
Typically.
because like when they're posting, they don't have that self validation, so they're kind of looking for that validation from outside sources. So like they'll post like, oh yeah, I woke up like this, like hashtag beautiful, and then there'll be like all those people who like comments like, "Oh yeah, you look so good."
200 comments.
200 comments that are all just kind of,
Flames.
Yeah, all
it's like the
Dancing
flames, dancing woman, like, "Oh yeah, you look so great," but like it's not real,
Right.
and like, but like, it's like they'll try and post like to see if they can make themselves feel better, and
Right.
like, it'll work for like a second. It's like that. It's that instant gratification, but like it doesn't actually make them feel happier in
And
the long
it
run.
hurts them too because it gives people the wrong impression of who they are.
Mm.
People think that like, oh, I want to be friends with this person. They're so perfect. Then they try to become friends with them, and they're overwhelmed by how many issues that a person has because they didn't know.
That's so true. It's such like a wise thing to say because I mean I feel like I found that out the hard way too. Like I used to follow certain people or be influenced or inspired, and then you meet them in person,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
you try to have and you're like, oh, this is what you're about.
Because you're not going to put your traumas or your issues on social media.
Right.
You know? So that's why I feel like the people who post less usually are more secure about themselves because they don't feel the need for that validation from other people.
Or do you think that they struggle feeling worthy of having that validation too?
Maybe. I mean, when I think of this example primarily, I think of Grady. Because Grady is the most self-secure person that I know. If he's watching this, hi Grady. I don't know if he probably won't, but because he has a terrible attention span.
Good, you should watch
But
like only
he
this
doesn't post
part.
anything on social media,
Uh-huh.
and I've always admired that
Mm.
because I don't know. The dude is always so happy. It's incredible.
Yeah, I don't post on because I've only posted on social media for the last like year, but like I don't post for like validation. I just kind of post like my experiences.
Yeah, I post like I only post usually if I travel. Like I posted
I love that.
recently when I went away on the snow trip. I made an Instagram post for that. That was it though.
I posted 3 times, no, twice track related. Once was like for like this Tough Mudder I did over the summer, which is one of the most fun experiences I've ever had.
We're gonna do that this summer.
We're gonna do that this summer. I'm gonna do like 2 of those this summer at least.
Wow,
Those are so
awesome.
much. I love them. They're so much fun.
Well, because it's adrenaline. You're like in your body fully, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, you feel exertion, all these things that we rarely feel,
Yeah.
right? So
That's why I want to go skydiving this summer.
You should. I think you guys should always seek experiences. Always seek that because
I'm
that
weird like that.
define
I
you.
love the adrenaline stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, when I went to Thailand, that was like life-changing, and that wasn't even planned. It was just...
Yeah, I always wanted to go somewhere like that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't my idea. Trust me, that's out of my comfort zone.
But I'm sure it changed your perspective on a lot of things.
Oh, it changed completely who I was.
Yeah.
It changed how I taught my students. It changed what I thought to teach them was important. My girlfriends actually, they're the ones who planned the trip, and I was like kind of like forced into it. They're like, you have to go too, and I'm like, let's do it. I don't know, like.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more places. I mean, I've done my fair share of traveling. My parents spend a lot. Like my parents, you know how people proportion their money differently. My parents spend less on house, car, and more on going and seeing the world.
I love
I've been
that.
to Italy a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because we have family there.
That's
My
great.
family's all very Italian.
Yeah.
My grandmother's
Mozzarella.
from Italy.
They
and-
don't say it like that. That's
No,
something
they
Jersey
don't. They
made
get
up, by
actually
the
get
way.
angry if you say it like
Mozzarella
that.
is something we made in Galamad.
Yeah. Actual Italian people get angry when you say
They
it like
do.
that.
They do.
They don't like
They
it.
do.
They take it as an
We should
affront.
make sure
but,
we
like,
make that.
I
the
definitely want to see
trend.
more of the world because Italy was. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, I've never been. That was on my bucket list. To
I've
do.
never had like those like traveling experiences. Like because my sisters, Michaela, who's my oldest sister, she went to Australia a couple years,
So I'd love to go there.
like a while back, for like a running thing. And they took her like to Australia to run there, and they took her to Hawaii, just kind of like a chill out thing.
I love that.
And Shannon, she went to China 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
China would be an interesting trip.
China was really interesting. She thought
Yeah.
it was super interesting. And then over the summer this year, she went backpacking through Europe
Wow.
with her friend. And it was like 3 weeks. She went to, I think she started in Italy because her friend, I think she had family in Italy, and she spoke like fluent Italian. So they went to like
awesome.
Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland.
That's crazy.
Did she say it was like different because of everything that happened, like through?
Not
COVID and
in
stuff?
some places.
Okay.
She said in some places it was a little different, but like she loved it. She wants to do it again. But like I really haven't. I've only been out of the country once, and it was to Canada,
Okay.
which was cool. But
Right.
like,
Yeah, but
it's
listen,
not.
when I
But
was
it's
your
not.
age, I wouldn't go. I wasn't even outside the United States ever
Right.
until my mid-20s.
Yeah, I'm definitely lucky for the opportunity
That's
to
why
travel.
Thailand was my first like international. That was like a 12-hour flight plus a 7-hour flight. So like talk about anxiety on a plane.
Yeah.
Like I was like this. It was forcing me to get so uncomfortable, and then just being with my 2 friends and not knowing because I'm such a usual planner. I control
Yeah.
things, and they're like, we're just gonna figure
Yeah,
it
I'm like
out.
that too. I'm very like.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like type A, type B people. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I'm type A because I can relax when I want to.
Right.
But I still am. I'm incredibly organized, and I
Right.
get angry when I'm not organized. I get upset when I'm not organized.
Because you feel
When
like you
I
don't
feel
have
like I don't have control of something.
Right.
I'm the opposite.
It
I'm
angers me.
I'm so incredibly type B. You can look at my backpack and I have even a folder in there.
Yeah.
Great.
It's just papers.
Great, Danny. I'm glad I already had you. You know what I mean? But we realize that those are things, right? So, like, I'm organized, and then sometimes I have, like, organized piles, right? Like, I have to find that balance.
I list it as my organized mess.
Right.
Because I know where everything is, but like to the average eye, it's just like this is just a bunch of papers.
Yeah.
But like I can be like, oh yeah, let me just
Let me
get out
just
my
go
homework.
through this.
Like this is my math homework
I don't
right
know
here.
if that's going to work for you forever.
I couldn't be like that, man. I clean my room.
Danny
I
handed
clean
some
my room
stuff
like
in
every
late.
week.
Just like to note that. Late assignments.
Whatever.
Just kidding.
Oh, only like one.
I know. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that affects how you feel in your environment too, right? So like if my house is a mess, that's not. I don't feel.
Yeah, I clean my
good.
room like every week. I can't not have it like that.
See, I knew it. I knew you were like my spirit animal. Right? No, I try not to get that crazy either because then it's like you get consumed by that, and that's me
Yeah,
trying to control
exactly,
my
yeah.
anxiety through that, right?
You have to know when to relax too.
Right,
You know,
right.
when to just
I
take a
struggle with
moment.
still.
and-
That's, that's why I teach what I teach, right? And I have to
Yeah.
practice it though, or it doesn't serve me. So I think travel though is one of the most important things I can influence you guys to do, or just your generation, because
Yeah.
it's easy to have viewpoints and opinions and perspectives when you don't leave this area, your safety zone, your comfort, this bubble of Ocean Township, right?
Right.
But then you go to places where, you know, like for example, Thailand, I guess that's the example I'm using, but
Yeah.
where water is like not
Yeah,
there.
I've seen the like rural villages in Italy that like it's like
Yeah.
just like little like tiny huts.
Right, and we complain about the bathrooms here,
Yeah,
even, and then
exactly.
I get showed a bathroom there, and it's like legit, like a hole in the ground.
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly. It's incredible.
like,
It
what?
changes
What do you want me to
changes
do?
the way you think.
Like, right? Or just even traveling, and like motorbikes are big there, or it just and these people are happy though.
Yeah,
That's
motorbikes
the
are
thing.
huge.
They put the whole family,
Yeah.
family's on a motorbike, and you're like, is that safe? I don't know. And then you see we go there, and then we try to do it, and it's legit like a motorcycle. And they're like, you're good, you go ahead, go on that. And I'm like, what? Right?
Yeah,
So
it's
just what we
insane.
do is different, but like it also changes how we feel. Like these people are happy and they have nothing. Like they have nothing. Like I've seen where they lived, and we went in the villages. We were kind of like off the beaten path kind of experience, and you see these kids and they're just happy in the dirt, and they're just
Well, because
playing
in their
nature
mind they have everything.
because
They have what they want.
they're
you know?
with their family. They're playing. They're present. They don't know. Even when I would show them the phone, they're like,
Yeah, their
"What's
wants and needs are
this?"
so fundamentally different from ours.
Do you think it is different, or you think we just ignore ours?
I think well, I mean, we're the Western culture,
Right.
consumerism and
Right.
capitalism and stuff like that. Not to, get into
Not
that.
to get
Oh,
into
I
that,
mean, that's
but like
okay.
it's a whole.
Do you think that's
It's-
working though?
It's completely. I mean,
Because I talked to a wise
working
man
in
there.
what sense? Like emotionally or operationally?
Either. I mean, here's the thing.
Because it
though.
allows the country to run at least somewhat. But
Right.
on the other hand, it's really bad for our mental health.
Mm-hmm. Can we find a balance? Like that's
Yeah,
what
we have to find a
I'm
middle
excited
ground.
to see that, because I was even talking to like considered a wise man there, and he's like, the dirt, like you walk into a building in America and you try so hard to keep everything so clean, but you realize like you don't want dirt, you don't want this, but mind you, you're sick. Like we're sick. Like we won't talk to our neighbors. We won't help each other. We function a lot in fear. We're mentally struggling. Our diets are crazy. I mean, the statistic for people being sick is like 1 out of 4.
My diet's terrible, man.
I try. I've been trying to improve my diet
I
lately.
eat out way too much. I eat
So
out like
do I.
every night.
Oh, jeez.
It's
I
just
eat out
like
a
it's
lot
not even like
now.
a. It's like because
And now everything's inflated, right? So
Yeah, it's all
imagine what you could
expensive
do
now.
if you. That's like I try to hopefully my biggest lesson in discovery of science is try to get you to reflect and then get you to be independent and use your skills. Like you could cook. Don't be fronting. Come on.
I actually do sometimes.
Yeah,
I,
so, like-
I can cook. I make
and
dinner
that could
for
be
my
fun.
family
Could you
sometimes.
imagine having like a cooking
I
party
love
with
it. I
your
wish I did it more
friends?
often.
Instead of going to Five Guys, because Brian went there recently. I don't know how much those burgers are. They're almost $15 now.
I spent-
It's a great.
Could
Just
you
to feed
imagine?
myself is
20
like $20.
It was
That's
like
what
it
I'm
was like
saying.
$20 for a burger, fries, and a drink.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So imagine you do that every week. That's your $100 a month that you need to be what? Financially free and stable if you invest it right by 55. You'd have over $1 million.
I've been trying so hard, but the thing is, I think our fundamental issue is that when we go out to hang out,
Yeah.
we're looking for things to do. The first thing that comes to our mind, go get food somewhere.
But imagine if you're like, what happens if you got creative and you're like, oh, you know what, Friday night we're gonna do a potluck dinner. So me and my friends, this is what I'm saying. Or someone will host and
We should do that.
and do that.
That would be cool.
That would be so much fun.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like if we bring that back and
I
like you
would
guys
cook
save
something.
money and like you can teach each other and be like, oh, what's that recipe? That's what
We
me
did.
and my friends
Well,
do.
in November we did a Friendsgiving this year. Where
Yeah.
we all cooked our own food or brought our own food and
And
brought
then
it
it's
there.
made with love. It's made
I made
with
lasagna for everyone. They all
See?
loved it.
That lasagna was so good.
Oh yeah.
right, and then you go out to buy it and it would cost you guys $100.
Oh yeah. No,
you know?
and it was enjoyable to make it too. It's fun to cook, you know.
That's what I'm saying. So like, imagine if we could bring back these things,
Right.
right? Like the simple task, or just doing things with purpose and with intention instead
Yeah.
of like to get it done. We're dismissing things that fill our cup, thinking that other things do and they don't.
Yeah, we do so much just to get it done. That's eating.
Right?
Yeah.
We eat it, we
Scarfing,
just
you
eat
scarf.
now, yeah.
I mean, that's how I was raised. I worked,
Oh yeah, that's how
and
I
then you
was
just like
raised,
get
too.
it's a 5-10 minute break, and you're like, even now, like I have to remind myself because I'll work through my lunch.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But you go to Italy, what do they do there?
They take all the time they need.
They take siestas. They take a 2-hour
Their
lunch
work
break,
hours are
they
much
take a
shorter. They
nap.
have longer lunch breaks. It's really incredible how they operate.
and
there.
they're
They work like 10 to 4 there, and they have
Yeah.
like an hour, like
Yeah.
a multiple hour long lunch break sometimes.
But their productivity could be equal because sometimes we're distracted. So how much time and effort are we really putting into
Because they're not
it?
stressing about work as much.
You
You know?
know?
So a lot of them enjoy it. You know, because it's they don't spend all their time at it, but you know, a lot of them are doing what they like. You know. So.
Yeah. I hope that we can bring this culture back a little bit, you know?
I hope so. It's gonna eventually there will be some reforming.
So when you come
in-
visit me in 10 years, this will be
absolutely.
the vibe, you think?
I hope so.
Yeah, I should. I want to come back and visit the high school in 10 years.
I think so.
Just
Yeah.
just kind of see like how everything's changed,
Mm.
if anything. I would hope so, but just kind of like the world around us. We're gonna have to take that in as it's changing, and
Right.
hopefully we change with it. But there's so many people who are just so against
You have
change.
to, or be left behind.
Right. We're either
Yeah.
growing or dying, right? Is that what they say, even scientifically?
Yeah,
That's
you have
what
to
life's
be
happening.
You have to be adaptable, otherwise you're gonna fall behind. so.
Or suffer, right?
Yeah,
Which I think is
exactly.
what's happening now. We're being forced to try to change. And we're like, no, we don't want to. But what's happening? We're suffering emotionally, mentally, physically.
Yeah,
and-
I can say confidently that I do not like change. It's
Yeah.
hard.
It is hard.
It's hard
Because
It's
you don't
just not
at first
fun.
you don't know what to do and you feel overwhelmed a lot of the time.
What happens if we skipped over trying to stay connected to change and we actually skipped over that part and stayed connected to belief and faith and trust?
You could skip that whole process of being stressed out about change.
I think that's the ultimate goal. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that. I mean, a lot of people don't like change, you know, because it's unknown. As
Right.
we talked about the other day, fear of the unknown.
Maybe.
Bringing the curriculum into it.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Fear of
great.
the unknown. Fear versus love. Like, that's what everything is. It's two choices, always. It's, am I going to do this with love? Or am I going to do this from fear? And we're conditioned for fear. It's a visceral thing in us because we used to have to choose to survive.
Right.
But now
Yeah.
we're not wondering if a bear is going to attack us, right? So we have to get back to this space of, like, trusting humanity, the kindness that's within us, even when people mistake. Instead of the cancel culture and pushing people away, like, can we find it in ourselves to forgive? And there's like this concept called Ubuntu. I hope I'm saying it right, but it's like when someone makes a mistake in the tribe, instead of the tribe shunning
Oh, yeah,
them
we just
away,
talked about this,
Yeah.
imagine if we surrounded them with
Just
love
looking
and
together.
reminded them, like, you did this, but it's okay. Like, you didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or this is your truth. Like, that's not your truth. That was your response. Like, can we do that?
Right.
And it's hard. Listen, I'm human too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
It's a good message to end
I
on,
hope
think.
I hope that
It
that's
is.
I hope that that's what
That should be
resonates.
that's your
Yeah.
final
Just
message.
to resonate with everyone, just kind of
Choose love, right?
choose love.
Choose love.
All right. Miss Mira, thank you so much for
thank
coming
you
on
so
the
much
podcast.
for having
Thank
me.
you.
All right. That was a Spartan Update podcast. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next week.